Alright guys, so welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be touring my website that I made, Aaron's Budget PCs. So this first page that we have here is the home page that I designed, and it just kind of has our intro, the most affordable custom gaming PCs, and this is my very first custom gaming PC website. So just make sure to check out the different pages to find a PC that works for you. Now, down here we have a little newsletter area, so you can type in your email. I'll just type in mine. And then you're subscribed to our newsletter. Now, this website isn't actually live yet because I don't have a domain, but if it were, then the newsletter function would actually work. Now, the second page that I have here is our builds page, and these are just two computers, one Intel, one AMD, that I picked out all the parts for, and I made them the cheapest that I could possibly find. Now, the Intel one is going to be a little bit more expensive. That's just because with the Intel PC, you have to get a graphics card, because otherwise you're not going to be able to play any games unless you like playing in 420p at 60 frames a second. Now, the other computer that I have here is the Brick 2.0. This is the AMD version. And this is going to be a little bit cheaper because the processor, AMD just released two 4-core processors, the Ryzen 3 and Ryzen 5 processors with Vega graphics. So the Ryzen 5 comes with Vega 11 graphics, and the Ryzen 3 comes with Vega 7 graphics, I believe. So this allows you to create a gaming PC for a lot cheaper because you get your graphics with your CPU. Now, the other page that I have in here is the how-to page. So right here there are just a bunch of videos that'll show you how to build a gaming PC, how to install pretty much every part of your PC. So, after you've decided kind of what parts you want to have, and if you want to keep looking around my website, you can look here if this is your first time and learn how to actually build your PC. Now, the last few pages that I have are all just the best budget parts right now that I can find. So first we have the budget CPUs page. Oh, and right here, this is just a spot for ads, so I'll have that on these pages. If this website were ever to go live, I would probably put in some ads right here. Now, these budget CPUs, you either want to get an Intel or an AMD CPU. Now, the two Intel CPUs that I have here, one is the Intel Pentium, and this is actually the CPU that I have in my computer, and although it doesn't have 4 cores, it does have hyper-threading and up to 8 threads, which allows it to pretty much be as fast and process just as fast as a 4-core CPU. Intel Core i5 is pretty much the same thing, except it has 4 cores and the hyper-threading, so it'll be a little bit faster than the Pentium, but it'll also come with the price. Now, the two AMD processors I have right here are the two that I mentioned earlier. This is the Ryzen 3 with Vega 8 graphics, and this is the Ryzen 5 with Vega 11 graphics. Now, note with these AMD processors, you don't need to buy a graphics card. Now, moving on to GPUs. When buying a GPU, you really just want to look at NVIDIA GPUs or AMD's Radeon GPUs. I prefer NVIDIA just because I really like the software that they have that goes along with their GPUs, and they're relatively cheaper, except for the higher end NVIDIA graphics cards. But these will function just as well as some of the higher end ones. Now, the first NVIDIA GPU that I have right here is the 1050 2 gig GDDR5 128-bit PCIe graphics card. Now, this will be able to run games in 1080p at 60 frames a second. I haven't tested it out personally, but I know that it'll be able to function well based on the performance that I get from the 1050 Ti, which I actually have in my computer. The 1050 Ti, I'm able to play games at about 144 frames a second with some tweaks to the graphics settings, and it has functioned really well for me. I've never had to deal with any overheating or anything like that. Now, moving on to the two AMD GPUs that I have right here. The first one is the Asus Radeon RX 580. Now, this is only a 4 gig RX 580, so it won't function as well as the 8 gig R80s, which most R580s are. Now, this will still function really well. I really don't think you need more than 4 gigs of processing power in your GPU if you're just looking for a budget GPU. So this is also a really good option, the RX 570. Now this one also does come with some pretty cool lights that you can change, and you can also overclock this, so it'll be able to function just as well and maybe better than my 1050 Ti. Now moving on to RAM. So with RAM, you just want to make sure you're buying from a reliable brand. So if you can find a deal on RAM right now, DDR4 and DDR4 RAM is really expensive right now. So if you can find 8 gigs for $80, that's a really good price. That's the lowest I've been able to find. Maybe like a little bit lower, like $72. But if you can find something like that, I would definitely jump on it. Just make sure that the product that you are buying is reliable and there aren't any reviews that are saying that it's overheating or frying their computer. And yeah, once you've figured out that it's reliable, then I would just purchase it. You can also look at the speed here. This is how I've organized the RAM. So I have a 2400 megahertz of processing power for these two, and then this one comes in at the same price, but it has 2666 megahertz of processing power. Now, one thing that I forgot to mention is that you can actually click on the image to be taken directly to the website where you can purchase the item. So as you guys can tell, I clicked on the image and it took me directly to the website where I can purchase this for $74, which is actually a really good deal. When I bought my RAM, I bought it for about $80, which I think is how much this costs. Yeah, $81. Now the last page that I want to show you guys is the motherboards page. So on here, the three brands that I really like for motherboards are Gigabyte, MSI, and Asus. So I have two motherboards from each of them. The Gigabyte GA B250 Gaming 3 is actually what I have in my computer. I have an Intel build. This also comes in a AMD variant. So if you want to build an AMD computer, I would recommend getting the AMD version of this. Now for MSI, I just have two of their best AMD gaming motherboards. Now these are going to be pretty similar to the Gigabyte Gaming. And over here we have the two Asus motherboards. Now These are going to be a little bit more expensive, but Asus is one of the most reliable motherboard brands that you'll find. They have really high quality products, and you don't really have to worry about overheating or anything. These will function very well in your computer. Alright guys, so the last thing that I want to show you guys before this video is over is the actual code behind my website. So right here I have the code for my homepage. Usually when you make a website, you just want to call your homepage your index. Now, as I scroll through here, you can look at, there's the title. This is the entire menu right here. So if I changed one of these to say something else, like I'll change one of the pages like how to from to videos. Now if I save that, go to my home page, and it has changed the title of the how to page to videos. Now if I change that back quick, refresh the page, and it's back to normal. So another cool thing is I have all the pages in here. This website took me about 7 hours to make after gathering all the links and doing all the research to figure out what I really wanted in my website and how I wanted it to look. Now what you're seeing right now is all HTML, which is the main website programming language that most companies use. It's called HTML5, and I've learned a little bit of it. I don't know everything, but I know how to make a pretty good looking website. Now this is the builds page where we have our two computer builds. This is the code for the how-to page again, and these are all the videos. So I can go to the how-to page, and you can see all the videos showing up in this list right here. Now, if we go to the motherboards page, the code I actually made pretty similar for each of the motherboard, RAM, CPU, and GPU pages. They're pretty similar. I just use what's called a box function, where I contain everything that I want in a certain space so that it looks nicely like this. Now if you notice when we go to the GPU page, it looks really similar. That's just because I use the same code so that it would be easier for me and my website would still look nice. Now one thing that I forgot to mention in the video is I actually made this website scalable for mobile devices. So let's say I on full screen and put it down to about a phone's width. You could still view my website even if you were on a mobile device. It would still function just as well. Yeah. Yeah, and I would have to work on videos a little bit, but you would just be able to full screen those on a mobile device. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Oh yeah, I also forgot one more thing. So with HTML, in order to style your website, you have to use a language called CSS. Now, just to give you an example of how much CSS really does, I will delete all the CSS from my website. Don't worry though, I'm just gonna put it back. Now, here. Gotta save. Can't forget to save. So this is what my website would look like if I didn't have any CSS. As you can tell, it's pretty plain and simple. Doesn't really look that interesting. Just kind of a normal website, and my menu doesn't even work. I can't even have a drop down menu. Now let's put that CSS back in, because I do not like my website like this. Alright, well, that pretty much wraps up the video, guys. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.